Look, Harsh, thanks for coming and joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, this is this is called Meet Adelaide, and there are so many people in Adelaide that I find fascinating, and I wanted to share your story with everyone else.
Sure.
We met at Coffylosophy, which is your cafe.
Yep.
And that is an absolutely unique experience. It is like a cafe like no other, and really, you get your coffee to awaken your body and your soul, and then you awaken the mind with your jokes. I think you're the only person that I've ever recited probably most of Russell Peters. No, Russell Peters. Is that what it's called?
Russell Peters.
Yeah, Russell Peters' comedy thing in the morning. So,
yeah.
No, always good. So thank you.
No, thank you very much. Thanks for calling me a character of Hutt Adelaide as well.
A shining beacon amongst us mere mortals.
That makes it better. Yeah.
That's about as good as it gets.
Yeah.
No better than that. Well, so it's called Coffylosophy, and
Correct.
I've always wanted to know why. And you actually have some Coffylosophy on the blackboard that you have there.
Yeah.
So how did you come up with the name? And
so obviously, we were looking at doing an espresso bar. This is back in 2014 when we started off as a couple of friends getting together and wanting to do an espresso bar in Adelaide, and then we found Hutt Street and then perfect location for it. And then we were trying to come up with the name to create the concept and the whole lot. A fair amount of alcohol was involved over the discussion, as you may know. Yeah, well, not enough. Yeah, plenty the next day. Yeah. So we wanted to make it as a conversation starter.
Yeah.
As you know, you get people saying, so Coffylosophy or coffee.
I can't say it.
Not many people can say it in the one straight breath.
That's right.
So it obviously becomes something to talk about, right? Coffylosophy also came about in a way we wanted to educate people and sort of show them that, it's not just in the eastern states that you can get good coffee. You can get good coffee in Adelaide, and Adelaide can be the next big thing for coffee.
Yeah, right.
So we played around with a few words along that, with trying to incorporate something educational with coffee. So we tried espressology, coffeeology, a lot of those words, but then
like the study of type thing.
Study of kind of thing, and then we said Coffylosophy, and then that just stuck.
Yeah, right.
So
Fantastic.
Coffylosophy it was.
Yeah, cool. And so you actually use the cold press because you got a
cold drip tower. Yeah,
you use that as well.
Yeah, we do. So in summer, obviously, we go through. We make cold drip every night.
Yeah.
So it's something that we just set up overnight. So it drips through overnight, and it's ready to consume the next day.
Yeah.
Over winter, not so much.
Yeah.
We still do we set it up about twice a week, which gives us 3 liters or so, which we go through.
And did you have like a particular brand of coffee or a blend?
So
how do you come about that?
we work with Veneziano coffee roasters.
Yep.
They are a roastery based out of Melbourne, and they've got a little retail and wholesale front on Melbourne Street.
Yeah, great, cool. So we'll come back to that.
Yeah,
we'll come back to the coffee shop and your experience there. But where'd you grow up? Did you grow up in Adelaide?
No. So I was born in India.
Yeah.
We moved to Adelaide. So Mum, Dad, and I moved to Adelaide when I was 17. So in 2005.
Yep.
And been in Adelaide since.
You look way younger than that.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not good at maths. Yeah.
Moisturise.
So how did they? So you came at 17 and you moved to Adelaide. How was that? Were you reluctant?
Very, very different.
Were you like, nah, I'm staying?
A part of me wanted to do that, and a part of me wanted to embark upon this new adventure.
Sure.
I am an only child, so at that time,
I get that.
Yeah. So at that time, Mum and Dad took most of the decisions. Well, we can connect on that
My
level.
dad was a good-looking guy.
But Dad moved to the Middle East in search of better job opportunities. When I was still in year 7.
Okay.
So he was there for a good 7-8 years. The idea was to so he was in Qatar. The idea was to finish year 10 in Mumbai, move to Qatar, do year 11, year 12. Now, back in the day in Qatar, you didn't have any higher education past year 12. So you either move to another country or you go back home.
Go to uni,
Or to go to uni.
Yeah.
So at that time, Dad was tossing up between Canada and Australia, and Australia clicked first.
Sure.
But there was so he was selected to come to Australia under state nomination, so he had to come to South Australia. At that time, that was called the SIR visa or something. Where you had to stay in South Australia for 2 years plus have 1 year of full-time employment.
Okay.
And
did you have to move like regionally, or is it just anywhere in South Australia?
No, it's anywhere in South Australia.
Sure.
So South Australia was considered regional at that time.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So we decided to move to Adelaide.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's how we came to Adelaide.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Like the whole city is considered regional. The same thing with Darwin now, actually. It's
true.
Rural area.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then, so did you do more study here when you came? When you were 17?
So enrolled into Adelaide Uni.
Yeah.
That was the main reason.
Philosophy?
No. Followed mum and dad's footsteps of accounting.
Oh, in accounting.
Enrolled.
That's why you got into beans, because you like counting the coffee beans.
Or sheep at night.
Oh, sheep.
But so join, that was the whole idea, study accounting.
Yep.
And then maybe set up a little accounting practice with mum and dad to keep it all in the family.
Yep.
Little did they know that their dreams were going to get shattered, and I was going to go a completely different path.
Yep. Well, still bean counting.
Oh, yeah.
They couldn't have been that.
Yeah, well,
that
been
angry.
there, done that. Yeah.
I want to become a bean counter. Yeah, sure. That's
sure. 23 grams.
That's right. Well, yeah, I mean, right. So what did they think about... So how old were you when you started up the cafe?
So, we started...
You did a little bit of time as an accountant, would you?
No. So I was probably in my third year accounting. Sure. So I tried to enroll into a double major, did accounting and management.
Yep.
So which was a 4-year degree. For me, it turned out to be 5 years. Because, you... Yeah. You just live the awesome degree. Live the awesome life. So
yeah, that's right.
So you miss a year in between. Now I was in my third year accounting. That's when I did a little bit of work experience with Dad in the firm that he was working, and I just realized I could not sit in one place from 9 to 5 and just look at a computer screen.
Yeah.
I would literally intercom Dad and be like, "Can we go to lunch? Can we go to coffee? Can we do just get out of the office?"
Yeah.
So 2 weeks later, he just said, "You know what? I don't think you're going to be a good fit over here. You can enjoy your holidays with your friends."
Yep.
That's when I sort of lost a little bit of interest in pursuing accounting and that as a career. So I was playing cricket for Adelaide Uni at that time as well.
Yeah, nice.
And a friend of mine got me this opportunity to go to England and play for a season over there.
Yeah, right, cool.
So I sort of took that as a gap year.
Yeah.
And went over to England and played some cricket there just to clean up my mind and maybe know what I want to do.
Yep.
Whilst I was at uni, I was also, as you do, just a casual job at a cafe. So I started my hospitality journey when I was 17, when we first arrived at an Indian restaurant.
Yep.
Learned a lot of things. That's where I realized that I'm more of a people person and I cannot sit behind a desk and crunch numbers. I like meeting new people. I enjoyed that banter you can have with customers and and that just came naturally.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wasn't told by my boss, "You go and make jokes." No, it was not that. It's just you go out and you have fun.
Yeah, and you're personal and you like it.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
And that's when I realized I enjoy this.
Coming to your cafe, I always smile before I come in because I know that
and
there's going to be a warm, friendly face.
Correct. It's coffee with a happy ending.
Yeah. I won't take that any further.
No.
So many possibilities.
Yeah. So So obviously wanted to grow out of that Indian restaurant phase and all of that. So a friend of mine got me a job at the cafe she was working at, which was in Mawson Lakes.
Yep.
Did a trial shift there. Obviously, they must have liked me. They called me and gave me a lot of hours.
Or they were desperate.
Yeah, or that, which we are at the moment now everywhere.
Yeah.
So they offered me a job and I happily took it.
Sure.
Whilst still, studying accounting. But at one point I realized I actually enjoyed working in the cafe a lot more than I was enjoying doing my assignments or attending lectures or doing all of that. So started growing from there. Then I went to England, took some time out from working, and came back with a maxed out credit card, and I realized that I had to pay it back somehow. That's where that 6 month, 7 month gap from uni turned into a 1.5 year gap, where I just pushed myself out and worked as much as I could, and made a bit of saving and started learning a lot more about running a business and just the admin side of things and how more you can improve about. So obviously you learn from becoming a waiter to becoming a barista and serving and talking and gathering that clientele, dealing with suppliers and reps and stuff like that. My boss at that time probably would have seen something in me, and he would take me to a lot of those supplier or any of his clients and stuff, and would sit me down, and I would learn a lot of stuff from him, the way he dealt with them, the way he talked to them, and because I think somewhere he saw that he could offer me a partnership in the cafe while he wanted to
take a bit of step
phase himself out and retire and still know that the business was in good hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Where was this? Where was that cafe?
This was in Mawson Lakes. It's called the Boat Deck Cafe.
Oh, okay.
It's still there.
Yeah.
And it's owned by a really good friends of mine. So
great.
Which we were working together at that point.
Yep, sure.
And I was at that crossroads where so should I buy into an established business, or should we start something of our own? So obviously a couple of my friends came and said, look, we want to do this, and would you be interested? So I was sort of at that crossroad where should I buy myself a job or become my own boss?
Totally, yeah.
Spoke to mum and dad about it.
How old were you when this happened?
This is going back 2014, so I was 26.
Yeah, right. That's pretty young.
Yeah, 26. I would like to say, if my math is correct. I am an accountant's son, so it should be.
Including GST or excluding?
Yeah. Well, we get that back, don't we?
It's a life hack.
Yeah. So, spoke to mum and dad. They were not overly happy about me quitting studies and all of that, but they did back me up and said, look, if this is what you want to do, give yourself 100% and go for it.
Yep, great.
If it fails or if it breaks down or anything, we're always here to support you.
You've got something to come back to as well.
Always.
Yeah.
So you can always go back to studying and finish off your degree and this and that, which was great support and and you need money and capital, obviously. So mum and dad helped out a lot.
They helped out with the fit out and things like that to start up with.
So I didn't have to borrow much from the bank and just got some help from the family and then we set up Coffylosophy.
Yeah. So what was it like growing up in India? What was the vibe there? How was your schooling?
Totally different. Complete opposite. It was like a full 180 when we came here. So coming from Mumbai, so it's a 24/7 city. It's crazy. It's not hyperactive. It's radioactive, as I call it. So, it's a complete different experience when you move from a city like Mumbai, which is home to close to 26 million people.
Yep.
That's more than the population of Australia.
26 million people.
Yeah.
That's many.
Yeah, that's more than the population of Australia into one city about the size of Adelaide.
Yeah.
Jeez. So think about that, and then coming to Adelaide with the population of 1.5.
Yeah, right.
So
and that's not even in the city. That's the
not
whole
even
state.
That's the whole state in total. Correct.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah, and the mines.
So how did you find that? Well, that would have been a massive change.
It was a massive change.
Did you instantly love it, or did you take some time to warm up to it, or you're like, there's no one here?
It took some time warming up to it.
Yeah, or warming down.
Well, warming down or cooling up. So 17 when I moved here, so straight out of year 12.
Yeah.
And in Mumbai, I was in the same school all the way from kindy to year 10.
How many people in your school? 1,000?
Yeah, well, we had about 45 per class. So
yeah, right, okay.
And it's the same group that we grew up with right from kindy, most of them to year 10, and then we went to year 11, year 12. We all went to the same college and junior college, and so having like 17 years of friends leaving and family and leaving them all behind and moving completely to a different country.
Yeah, for sure.
where you're culturally apart, you're physically apart from all your friends and family, and starting yourself, like especially for dad, starting a brand new at the age of 45.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
that was hard for him, and I've seen mum and dad go through.
And it was mainly the opportunities that they were
Correct
looking for
yeah,
in
so
Australia.
when we first came here, dad didn't have a job.
Yeah, right.
So it was just about, okay, well, let's settle down, let's get a house,
Yeah.
let's and then we'll, at least we can start living and then start looking, because we still have a little bit of savings we can chew into by the time I get a job.
And how did you find that process? Like, did they find it easy to find a house? Did they find it welcoming coming to Australia?
It was easy to find accommodation.
Okay.
But finding a job was hard.
Yeah.
Having said that, like, my dad's a workaholic, so he has to be working. He works till date. He works 7 days a week.
Yeah, right.
You can't take that away from him. And all of a sudden, going from someone that is so used to working 7 days a week to having no work.
Yeah.
Well,
That'd be quite a shock.
Yeah, it was a big shock to him, and I saw him go in depression.
Really?
At the same time. So, but he held it together very well.
Yeah.
Because he had to, keep a strong face for me, for mum, because mum went into depression the first 3 months that she was here too.
Really?
So we had to literally send mum back.
Really?
Yeah, mum went away.
Just the shock of changing, or?
Correct. Mum went away and then came back after a year.
Yeah, right. And as a young kid, how'd you? Because that would have been tough on you as well, I can imagine.
So as my dad always keeps saying, I actually got the first dollar in the house.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So the house that we were renting off was the owner of the Indian restaurant I was working for.
Right. Okay.
So they obviously had a house to rent right next door to them.
Yeah. Right.
And so we moved in there, and I brought the first dollar into the house.
Yeah, right. There you go. Did you frame it, or are you kidding?
Oh no, I gave it straight to dad. It's here's my earnings for today.
Insane. Yeah, that would be quite.
It was very emotional.
Yeah,
it was very emotional. Yeah,
I can only. Yeah, I mean, I think parents are always
correct,
kind of meant to be there to look after you.
So we came in October 2005. Uni didn't start until February 2006, but before that you had to do the enrollment and you had to pay your fees. Now I was paying international student fees without dad having a job.
Oh, really? So the much higher rate and
correct.
up front as well, right?
Yeah, up front as well. Yeah.
Yep, so no HECS.
No HECS.
That would have been incredibly challenging. Ooh.
Yeah.
Not so easy.
So it was not only just the financial pressure of running a house, but also at the same time making the fees and all of that. So, the first 6 months were a bit tough, and then through met a few people and here and there, and Adelaide being Adelaide, and everybody knows everybody, he teed up a job in an accounting firm, which he still works for today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So how long has he been? So we've been there the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
17 years.
17 years.
Yeah. Same company.
Yeah, right. That's great. That's cool. And
so
they're probably in a much better place now.
Oh,
I suppose.
Yeah. So
when before you left India, did you hear any stories about, so during the war, after the war, there was talking about all the different countries you can go to, and they were looking for refugees to go, and they, Australia was, there were all these rumors going around that they were cannibals and all this kind of stuff. Did you hear anything like that? What was your expectation of Australia?
Well, I was hoping for a very chilled back, laid back country, westernized culture and all of that. So it wasn't. Did hear about a lot of kangaroos jumping on the street, and as your typical cliches, and you could just be hit by a kangaroo on the way there, and the sun is really, really hot. I was like, nothing compared to Mumbai, but then you realize it is actually, it's actually very different compared to Mumbai. So even till date, when people say, "Oh, this is not hot for you. You should be used to this kind of weather," I was like, "Oh,
not so much.
Not so much.
Right?
Yeah, it's different. Now, if you'd send me to Darwin, different story. That one I can relate to, or Queensland I can relate to, but not this dry 44-degree heat." But no, it was
cool.
Nothing I had not expected.
Okay.
So it wasn't like a big shock. It's like, oh my God, I'm in a different continent or a different world altogether. And
it's I took it in your stride. And
yeah.
Well, coming to, I mean, we've had COVID, and I think, actually, so for me, as I'm a lawyer, and it's actually very easy to run my business. It's just, basically people ask me to do work, I charge hours, and then I send them a bill. Very simple.
Sure.
And I can do that from home or anywhere.
Yep.
But running a cafe, there's so many moving parts. There's so much stuff going on, and you have such a fundamental, like there's so many different elements coming into it. So these types of pressures, I'm really interested to hear about what you saw as a change of the impacts or
COVID.
From COVID and now staffing problems as well.
Yeah, it was challenging, adventurous, and educating.
Yeah, okay.
All at the same time.
Yeah, right.
So there was so many things we learnt about the business that just all of a sudden in a blink of an eye, I was like, we could actually run it this way too.
Okay.
We could do this too. So there was a little good that came out of it.
Innovation
as well, innovation space. There was things that, we would have talked about wanting to implement or try something new in the place, which we always put on the back burner, saying, no, right now we're really busy to try something new, and it's this and that. And then all of a sudden you had all the time in the world to do it.
Yep.
So that was the good education, innovation part of it.
Like what? So what kind of things were you looking
like we always wanted to go into, say, for example, online ordering.
Oh, okay, sure.
Like click and collect.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have said, look, as much as we can call up and pre-order and stuff, if we had somewhere we could just click a button and, and pay for it, so we don't have to wait in line and wait for other people, just come and grab it. Yeah. Because, again, if you know where we are on Hutt Street, it is a thoroughfare for a lot of people to get to work or back. So, and parking can be an issue on Hutt Street too sometimes. So you
always get and the parking inspectors are always there.
Oh yeah, they love it. Yeah, they love the street.
Yeah, especially the one next to around that corner.
Yeah. So people found it hard to find a park in the morning sometimes, and they would have to. If they want to come to Coffylo, they'd take a couple of rounds of the block to find a park, and then they didn't have time.
You almost need to just have like a big long stick that you can just
pretty
hold
much.
it out, and they'll just kind of judge it with their car, and they can just grab it as they go through.
COVID helped us create an online menu.
Yeah, right.
Where you can just go onto our website and then just pay for everything, and just it comes up on our screen, and you
do that yourself rather than straight through Uber or anything else?
Well, Uber Eats, yes, obviously.
Yeah, sure.
We had Uber Eats in there already, but you don't want to pay someone 35%, for something that people can actually pay for it, and 100% sale goes to the business.
Has that been a pressure on you, that kind of culture and changing? Or has that just increased your business, or do you feel like it's
Uber Eats? In all honesty, I look at I'm a glass half full kind of person.
Sure.
Right. So I always look at the positives in everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
COVID as well. As I said, first thing I talked about was the positives.
Yeah.
We'll go into, yes, obviously there is a lot of negatives that happened during COVID, and, businesses were like completely, some of them could not recover from it, and there was the financial stress and the anxiety and all of that it brought around. But there was a lot of positives that came out of it too. And same thing with Uber Eats as well. Yes, they take 35% and all of that, and it's a big push and big punch in your bank account and this and that. For us, what we found, we actually added on more customers with Uber Eats. So we're a small cafe. We've got very limited seating. We just expanded our dining room to a lot more people.
Sure.
Without having to actually clean up after them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Which is as simple as that. And not many.
I guess when you look at it in that context.
Yeah, you can always look in like. And
I was always so worried about that.
It's the cost of basically employing that extra person just to clean up after them, do the dishes, and it's like, if you think about it that way, you're just adding on more clients without actually incurring a lot of expenses behind it.
Yeah.
Plus, it's always good because sometimes Uber Eats will keep you busy on days that you're quieter in the cafe itself. Because a lot of people say working from home, or the weather is shit, or something like that, and they can order in Uber Eats and be at their office or at their homes and still enjoy our food and coffee.
Yeah.
And at that time, it basically helps with stock rotation.
Yeah.
Because you're not sitting on too much stock, and you're not throwing things away.
Yeah.
And so as I said, I like to look at the positives of all of that.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
And if anything, during COVID and, where we had to go into takeaway model only,
Yep.
Uber Eats was a savior.
That's what I remember. You'd come and get coffee. Put your mask on, Henry. I was like,
Yeah,
but
Uber
got in
Eats
trouble from you
actually
a couple times.
got us, floated us through, because there was a lot of people could have been in isolation and just ordered meals once a day, twice a day, breakfast and lunch, or just would do it on a regular basis, twice or thrice a week. There was, so that actually gave us a lot of, cash flow. Consistency, if you may say. And Uber did change their policies, what they would settle the accounts once a week. They were started settling every day.
Right. Okay.
So they obviously came to the party. They slashed their rates if people did a collect rather than a delivery.
Sure.
So that helped a lot. So we pushed that out. So there was a lot of promoting of the business that went through our Uber
well, that's
Eats.
good to hear.
Yeah.
Because I was worried, when you're talking about like you go to Woolworths or whatever, and then talking about the cashless checkouts and things. Yeah. Kind of, I think there's there we have these technological advancements.
Yeah.
And the idea is meant to be ideally better for the customer because they have more flexibility, but you don't want to then go and smash the business as well.
No, because at the end of the day, like the more automated you go, the more jobs you're gonna lose.
Yeah, sure. And you have new jobs, I suppose, as well. You have different things.
Different things as well, right? So we have been blessed with some great staff.
Yep.
Over the last 8.5 years.
They really do take on, I think it's you though.
It's I don't know if it's the culture, it's welcoming nature, it's just the banter, it's the regular customers, it's the community, it's the customers that make the employees feel like they're part of their everyday routine as well. So there's a lot of things that go around in the background that not many people see from a distance.
Yeah.
Our staffing, like we've got a guy that literally opened the business with us.
Yeah.
So he's been there right from day one and before.
Right. Yeah, amazing.
He was there helping me, with the fit out and stuff like that as well.
You don't see that often.
No, you don't see that often. And that's that loyalty of 8.5 years.
Yeah, for sure.
He's been there from day one.
Yeah.
My chef's been there with us for more than 5.5 years now.
Yeah.
Some of our staff, they've been with us, over 3 years, 3.5 years, the floor staff and the baristas and stuff. So at least it's we know that there must be something we're doing right to retain this staff and keep them
it's just got a whole other vibe, It's
correct.
Like a whole,
so even
it's
during
bubbly and friendly.
Even during COVID, we didn't fire anyone or was like, okay, that's it,
Because you closed for a while, didn't you?
No, touch wood, we didn't close for a single day during COVID. Right.
You're probably just like, Henry's coming.
Yeah.
Close
the doors when Henry comes. Yeah.
Oh, they closed.
But the only time during COVID that we closed was the 4 days of Easter in 2020.
Right. Sure, okay.
Which we basically just wanted to go back, go home, reevaluate everything, and how are we moving forward? Just had to re-strategize our whole business, which is because March 2020, when we went into lockdown.
Yep.
When COVID became rampant in Australia and half the country was shut down. And then the very next month was Easter. So we floated through however and wherever we could for those 3 or 4 weeks. And then Easter is when we took that step back over 4 days and went, let's re-strategize because this thing is not going away tomorrow.
Yep.
We're going to be stuck with the takeaway model for a long time.
Sure.
Till people are safe or vaccinated or they feel safe to come out and the government tells them that.
Because you would have seen that. When did you see that? Because the government was looking at easing those restrictions in about, say, January.
Yeah.
When did you feel, do you feel that people have gotten back to normal in their daily lives or are they still finding it?
A lot of people are trying to find that new normal, as they say. Being in the CBD is nowhere close to being as normal as what it used to be in 2019 pre-COVID.
What does that mean? So what's that?
In that sense, it means basically because of the work from home availability, a lot of people are working from home. Even the offices that we rely on from Monday to Friday to come in for their coffee and their lunches and that thorough traffic, the walking trade, as you call it, has diminished a lot.
Right.
And you can ask a lot of the CBD venues and hospitality as well, and especially, they will tell you that they don't see those people on an everyday basis. They might see them once a week or twice a week when they are actually going into the office for that, interaction or that client meeting or whatever that is there to do.
So
that
affects,
that affects a lot on our daily trade.
And that's like density in the city as well.
Correct.
I think that the commercial vacancy is
correct.
I guess the whole point of a city is having everyone together, and then everyone bounces off each other. And when you pull out these,
but what also happened with that one as well is a lot of city-based residential started coming up. So a lot of people now started living in the city.
Yeah, right.
Which they wanted to push.
Oh, that's interesting.
All those new apartment buildings came up around that time, and people started moving into those apartments, which sort of created that village in the city kind of feel to it, and the community just broadened a little bit more. So now and
they'll be ordering more meals rather than a simple takeaway.
Correct.
As well.
And this is people, and bless the people of Adelaide, they've realised it on their own, saying, we can one small coffee and sit there for 2 hours is not going to go. Not going to help this business. We will have to support them in more than just that one coffee. So they're now coming in and sitting down and having meals. More than once a week to twice
make a
a week.
great big breakfast.
Yeah. So it's all about people wanting to support, and they expect that kind of love and affection back, and that's what got us through COVID.
That's interesting, though. I don't think. Yeah, I mean that's a good observation where you can support not just by buying things, but also the way you buy things.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so if you have a coffee, do your thing.
Yeah, do your thing, and or just if it's not that important for you to sit down, just take a takeaway so that someone else can actually sit down. And that was sort of people of Adelaide understood that, especially when we had seating restrictions.
Yeah.
When you were at 25% capacity and you can only have 10 seats. Don't just sit there with one coffee. At least make it worthwhile for that table to be used and then reused and then reused. So exactly, and people did that. People did that, and there is always one bad apple amongst a lot of them. But that's fine. It's as a business, that's the risk you sort of take as well, and it swings around as well.
Yeah.
But what really got us through those dark times of COVID was the immense love and support from our local community, be it the people that live there, be it our regular customers, be it the people that were working from home but still came into the offices and just so that they could support those small businesses that they have supported throughout that time. They would make special trips to the CBD just so that they feel part of the routine, and
it's interesting that we've because of those because the government was looking at only half and half, things like that, and it's a little bit interesting in terms of an economic point of view where it's a bit of an experiment. If let's just say we work from home, isn't that a great idea? Yes, but then what happens? What are the knock-on effects? So
correct.
It's almost like changing these little variations from week to week seeing the impact that you have.
The first thing, and I remember this very clearly when the first set of the regulations. What do you call it? When we had to do the COVID marshal, and they would send things of what's allowed, what's not allowed. And
how did you find that? Did you find that confusing?
It was. It was confusing, But we're talking about supporting other small businesses. So we used to have newspapers in the cafe. Just a very small example, right?
Yeah.
So we used to have newspapers in the cafe. People would come in the morning. This is when we were at 100% capacity, and people would come in and sit on a table, read the newspaper, have a coffee, maybe have a meal or not. But that was part of their morning ritual. A lot of retirees in the area as well. So they're looking for somewhere to go and have a coffee and read the paper. And the first set of restrictions came in. They said you can't have anything that is touched by multiple hands.
Right.
So nothing communal.
Yeah.
So something as small as getting rid of newspapers.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, it upset a few people and their morning rituals and routines, but the way I explained it to the customers that wanted that, I was like, look, there is a news agency about 4 doors down. Go and support them and buy your newspaper.
That's true.
So it's every single dollar that goes around.
Kind of a reallocation.
It's a reallocation. Like, you're going to sit here and read the paper for free. Still do that, but buy your own paper.
Yeah, sure.
Buy your own paper and then come back.
Yeah. Yep.
And then take that paper home with you. And then, whatever. But like, you're not just, then in that way, you're not just supporting one business, you're supporting 2.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, that's interesting.
So,
so what's it like being on Hutt Street as a trader? What's that community like? Because I know that
Hutt Street community is amazing.
Yeah, from the trader's point of view.
Yeah. Look, yes, we've heard about some issues and security issues and stuff on Hutt Street in the past and stuff, but give me one street where there isn't. There is always going to be, one bad element of the society there that will have a shop will have a break-in or someone will try and damage some property and this and that. But in all general fairness, Hutt Street is amazing. Yep. It's your, as we call it, it's the village in the city. Yeah. Everybody knows everybody. The link with the connection with all the traders amongst each other. We all work like one big happy family. Yeah. It's like, it's not that, oh my God, you're my competition, I'm gonna put you down and I'm gonna say bad things about you. But no, it's not. It's like we all work harmoniously. It's like
it's not normally always full because you've got a couple of other coffee shops.
Yeah, so we've got Chiba across the road. Yeah. We've got Bega right next to us. Then you got Ballabooster across the road. Yeah. There's a new one opening up where the old Alfonso's was. It's called Flambe. Then you
that helps, right?
It helps everybody and density, like exactly, and everyone's a different offering. So one day you might see your customer in your place and the next day they might be at Ballabooster. Yeah. Or the next day they'll come back to you, the day after they'll be at Bega. But so it's the number of people are still the same. Vice versa. And exactly. So the number of people that live in the area and go out and support the businesses are still the number is the same. It's just the way they support every business. And that's the beauty about the community that we live in on Hutt Street.
And do you want to and so when you're in that kind of community, do you have any, I suppose, strategies to attract people there? Do you put on joint events or, do you... the council does some stuff in there.
Yeah, council does a lot of activation programs and stuff like that. Last few years, they have gone a little bit more and started doing Christmas activations and decorations on the street. They work with the Hutt Street Traders Group. And and they work really well. Like a few weeks ago, we had a couple of pocket parties. Yep. And they were really, really successful.
Been chatting to a couple of residents.
Yeah, and it was great. Like, you'd meet all your regular customers, but now you were like out and about socializing with them. It's a great networking opportunity. You get to meet any new traders that are thinking about coming onto the street, and you just have a good time with and you're supporting other businesses at the same time.
I think that's even just getting people in the habit of going outside again.
And on a winter evening as well, it was so well organised, and kudos to the council and AIDA for doing all of that.
Yeah, for sure. And so, what do you love most about Adelaide? What do you, what are the kind of features that you like and
like?
Compared to Mumbai, I suppose it's very different,
like this
right?
It's different, right? So 17 years in Adelaide now, and we used to go back to India every year. Yep. Last 4 years we haven't been able to, and we're quite looking forward to going at the end of the year.
Sure. You have family over there? And...
Yeah. Still got some rallies and all my childhood friends and stuff. Sure. They're all there, and now they've all got kids, and haven't seen those nephews and nieces in a long time. Sure. But it's so different. Like, you go to Mumbai now and be like, okay, well, 1 week, 2 weeks, you've met everyone, you've said hello, and you've done your...
Mumbai,
and well, not everyone, but all the people you wanted to see and all of that. And then it was like, I'm feeling claustrophobic now. Like, I want to go back to Adelaide, and I want my, like a bit of spread out a little bit. I want that, empty car park, and I want that green parklands, and I want that. So Adelaide grows on you. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think I would be able to live anywhere else. Adelaide's home.
Yeah, great. And so what do you think we could do better, like in terms of Adelaide? What are some of the things that you reckon we could
look going back to, post-COVID, I think the first thing is try and get as many people back into the offices in the commercial properties as much as possible. And it starts.
There's a lot of commercial vacancies.
There is a lot of commercial vacancies, and it's not fair on the commercial landowners and property owners as well. And people are downsizing offices to a smaller place, so they're not forking out as much rent. And considering only half the team is working from the office, the rest are working from home. But it would be nice to see all of those people back, offices full. They're having their lunches together, their office meetings, at a local coffee shop, or even enjoying a Friday night drinks with the entire crew, and going out and supporting all those businesses.
Yeah, for sure.
As as I said, keeping that culture going. That's one. B, I think we just need to go back and make it the third most livable city.
Third most ever.
Well, what was it? Third most or
wasn't the first?
First. And no, now we're 30th or something.
What? How did that happen?
No, I think it just happened overnight one day. But
how slippery!
Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, right.
But let's make it the most livable city, because we have the potential to be the most livable city in Australia.
Yeah, and what do you think is like that? You talked about that kind of vibe and things like that, but getting people together and. But what kind of elements do you think contribute to that livability, I suppose? Because you don't live in the city, wherever?
We don't know. We live in Mawson Lakes.
Mawson Lakes. And how do you find the drive in?
You're
there early. You're starting at 6 a.m.?
We'll leave home at 6 in the morning, so there's barely any traffic. So we're there in about 25 minutes.
When do you normally finish?
Close up at 3.
Yep.
So by the time we get out, it's just after 3:30 or 4.
Yep.
So try and beat that post-school traffic. So if you leave by 4, I think we've and truly dodged that. So another 25 minutes on the way home. So the way Adelaide's designed, and how it was designed years ago architecturally, just being all in grids and stuff, and till date we don't have any full-on traffic congestions and stuff.
It's not too bad.
You're in and out.
It's not like Sydney or Melbourne.
No way. You're not sitting in one spot for half an hour, 45 minutes. You're consistently moving, and you might reach home in half an hour or 35 minutes. And that's
easy to get around.
That's easy to get around.
Yeah, because I grew up in Canberra. Yeah, and Canberra, Adelaide's almost like a very big Canberra.
Yeah.
It's still got a lot of greenery, and I'm living on Halifax Street, and I can see over it, and you just look over it. It's just actually a wall of green.
Oh yeah,
you can't even see the houses anymore. It's just green, and I love that.
Oh, if this morning you'd have seen it, it was all fog, and you wouldn't have been able to see it.
It's just fog acting up. But yeah, great. Okay, so and what about what does the future hold for you?
Well, see out Coffylosophy. Keep going through Coffylosophy, because there is still so much potential that we think that we haven't explored yet. With Coffylosophy as well, and see where it goes, because the street's been nice to us, the city's been nice to us, and we definitely want to be there and serve as long as we can.
Yeah. And you know what I love about it is that it always seems this kind of fresh and happy place. So you've always kept that momentum going.
I keep telling my employees as well the same thing. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
So it's all about come to work. Have fun, serve a few customers, go home. And make sure, you want to come back the next day. Yeah,
fantastic.
It's not that you have to come back. You want to come back.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes a lot of difference.
Well, I don't think we can leave it on any better point than that. Look, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you very much, Henry. Thank you for doing this.
Loved hearing your story and what you're doing. And if you get a chance, I suppose, go into Coffylosophy and say hello. So... But yeah, thank you very much.
Not you're telling me. Oh, right. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you for organizing this.
Cool.